You're listening to CDKL5 in color. I'm Marissa, and on this podcast, I'm joined by my co-host Amanda, and sometimes some very special guests to talk all things CDKL5 deficiency disorder. It's a rare genetic condition caused by changes in the CDKL5 gene. Patients with this condition often experience profound developmental disabilities, difficult to control seizures that start in infancy, cortical visual impairment, and a variety of other health concerns. It's a challenging condition, but we know that by sharing our stories, we can raise awareness, provide support, and paint pictures of our community that can lead to greater understanding and meaningful change for families like ours. Let's jump right in.
Hi, Marissa.
How's it going?
We survived spring break, and I am happy to be back to podcasting with you.
Yeah, the breaks are hard, right? You're out of your routine. The kids are home. It's all on you.
Yeah, and we got sick. It's been a long time since I've been sick, so
Oh,
it is. Yeah, so spring is in the air. I'm feeling good, and everyone's back to their routine. So
that's awesome. Yes, excited for spring. This is the end of our first official quarter of the podcast. And so one thing that we're going to do is do a quarterly newsletter. And our first one is going out at the end of the month. So I kind of wanted to chat today about how it's gone for us this quarter and some kind of exciting things that we learned through our analytics for the podcast, which we'll share in a little bit. But how has it been for you doing this? The CDKL5 in Color podcast.
Time flies to know we already have a quarter under our belt. What I will say is I'm starting to feel a little bit like I'm getting, my feet under me. In some regards, it's easier than I thought, but also there's so much that we can discuss, and how we discuss that in a way that's impactful is starting to kind of roll around in my head a little bit. How about you?
That's awesome. Yeah, I think I would say it's been harder than I thought it would be in some aspects, but thinking about, especially when we do the different topical episodes, it has been fun to really look at the knowledge that I have in my head about different things. I've learned a lot having Gregory. He's going to be 9 next month. It's been 9 years of just really learning things that I never knew about before, never understood before, never thought about before. And it feels really nice to pass on some of that knowledge in these episodes in the hopes that it helps someone who's going through it or new, or that it can make a difference for our community. It's so nice to be able to benefit from other people's knowledge. And in my early years, reading in our Facebook support group, different comments from people, I always found that helpful. Give me things that I could bring back to my doctor to talk about, or even where to buy certain things. And it feels really nice to be able to pass that on. And I think having guests has been really fun. It's been really fun to have people in our community, our fellow caregivers, come on and talk to us about stuff. Each guest, I've learned obviously things I never knew before about them and about their child. And some of them we've been friendly for a long time. So that's been really fun.
Yeah, I agree. It's different to be with a guest than it is when you and I talk. And I think for a while I was a little worried, am I too frank or candid about some things, and how do people receive that? But I think at the end of the day, if I had this back when my daughter was an infant or in the early years, I would really appreciate being able to hear like, some things really suck, or this is really hard, but we're all going through it in some way, shape, or form. And there's a lot of talk in our community about the skills that our kids do or don't develop. And I think that at the end of the day, all of our kids require an extreme amount of support, and all of us go through it, and it might just look a little bit different. So hopefully we're helping highlight whether you got a girl or a boy or a walker or a non-walker. Like, all of us have really similar challenges still, and caregiving and the burden of it in this disorder is just relentless. And I hope as we continue to have these conversations, it really helps all of the people supporting us get a better idea of what it's like to live with a diagnosis like CDKL5 deficiency disorder.
Yeah, there's nothing really like hearing it from the people who are living it, right? You could read papers, you could read studies, you can do all of those things in black and white, but hearing the vibrancy of the different stories and different aspects of this life is really meaningful. Yeah. And I think for families listening, I worry about that too. I worry about especially new families feeling discouraged But I think people will come to listen when they're ready. And if they're not ready,
Pause.
they can pause and come back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of it, the whole
Yeah.
acceptance, right? You sort of have to be ready to tackle the things, and being not ready is part of the process.
Yeah, it's okay to not be ready. And also, we're not all going to experience every dang symptom that you look at on the extensive list of symptoms and impacts. So if you haven't experienced it yet, you might never, or it might come later, but you'll have time to worry about it when you start to see it. And I think often we're trying to hedge what's coming and try to stop it. And I don't know that that's a reality in our disorder.
Mhm.
Um,
No, I think that's important. Because we do that. Well, I do it. I think people with anxiety do it, I think. You try and get in front of it and try and prevent it because you don't want it. And you try and get control. You're always trying to search for control. But as you like to say, it's not in your control. You're not going to get control of it. And I think that's a good lesson, and one I still need to learn too, is preparation is great. I'm someone who prepares, but if you're doing it in the hopes that you can avoid it and the magic that it won't happen because of the work that you did, that is not the reality.
no,
Um,
and you didn't fail if it still happens, right? You might have mitigated it being worse than it is, or whatnot. And I mean, that's just it. We're always second guessing ourselves. I'm almost 20 years into this, and I still guess, should I have taken her to the doctor? Whatever it is. So, you know, allow yourself the freedom to get rid of that guilt when you can. Like, drop the I should have, could have, would have stuff
yeah,
because it gets in the way of finding your joy in those moments when you can.
yeah, that's so true. So I think we've had a really good mix of episodes so far. This will be our 12th that we're recording right now. And we've had some different topics. We've had some really fabulous guests. We've got a lineup of guests that are coming that I'm really excited about. And one thing I'm really excited about that I wanted to share. So, anyway, our quarterly newsletter is coming. It's coming the last day of the month. And inside, we have some nice quotes from episodes and some information about our analytics and our website. And one thing I wanted to share that's in the newsletter that I'll share here is something really cool. So when you have a podcast, you have analytics in the background that tell you about your audience and your episodes and rank your episodes and all those different things. And there's two metrics that I think are really exciting. So one is the number of plays. So the number of plays is how many people who have hit play for your podcast episodes. And we have over 1,500 plays, which is amazing to me. So
Yeah.
over 1,500 times somebody has hit play to listen to one of our
To
shows.
listen to what we have to say.
Yes. It's amazing. I just think that's so great. And a lot of gratitude to our community who we know is listening, and to our friends and family and the friends and family of our guests. Those episodes are the most popular ones, our guest episodes. And that makes sense, right? Because you have not only our CDKL5 and color community who's listening, but when we have a guest, we expand our listenership to their friends and family who want to tune in. So I would just give a shout out to anybody who's wondering if they would be interested in being a guest. We've gotten some feedback from some of the guests that we've had that their friends or family have reached out to them and said, wow, I didn't know this about your life. And I'm so glad that I was able to listen. It really helps me understand what you're going through. And that's been a really positive thing for the people who have reached back out to us to say, this has helped me connect with my friends and family and my support networks more, which I think is really fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And also, what do you guys want to hear about as our listeners? There's so many topics we can dive into and so many different ways to tackle those topics that, just encourage everyone to continue to drop in. And even if you aren't ready to be on the podcast, if there's something you want to hear us discuss, like, drop us a note at the website and we'll be happy to
oh,
try
yeah,
to meet your needs.
totally. We would love that. You can find us anywhere, message us through social media,
Yeah, true.
go to our website. I mean, we are everywhere. We are around. We're paying attention to our things. So if you want to get in touch with us, there's lots of different ways too. And we would love to hear your feedback, or, like Amanda said, topics that you would like to hear in a future episode. That would be great. The other metric that I am most excited about is this one called average completion rate. So podcasts that have an average completion rate. So completion is the person listened to the entire episode. Podcasts that have an average completion rate above 70% are generally thought to be demonstrating strong audience engagement and content effectiveness. So they're making stuff that their audience wants to hear and they're reaching the people they want to reach. So a strong podcast is above 70%, but when I looked at ours, it's 81%.
Wow.
I
Shout
know.
like, what a community, right? I mean, thanks, guys, for finishing what you start when you come to listen to us, because if people don't want to hear this, we don't necessarily want to continue to
Well, right.
waste our time recording these.
Right.
So
There's no point in doing it if nobody wants to hear it, but it's so cool. 81%. That's way above
yeah.
what average podcasts who are doing what they want to be doing are doing. So it makes me feel really good that we're putting stuff out there that people want to hear, that they're coming back to finish, even when life gets crazy and you have to hit pause and you were listening while you're doing your laundry, you're taking a walk, and now something's come up, you're coming back to finish the episode. And that means we're making content that you want to hear. And that, I think, is what we hoped to do. And I'm really proud of us that that's what we're doing.
Well, and I mean, super shout out to you, Marissa. I think the audience needs to know, like, I show up and have conversations with you, but you really produce. You are the producer and you make this happen. I'm very proud of you. I'm proud of us, but mostly I'm proud of like you and your hustle and your vision too. You really think about what people need and meet them there.
Thank you.
I'm just along for the ride.
Well, it's been so fun, right? It's been so fun.
It is.
It doesn't feel like work.
No, it doesn't. And I got used to seeing you weekly, and it would hurt my feelings. Probably I would be sad if we didn't have a reason to come together and do some work and have some social time as well.
That's the thing. When we were both on the board of IFCR, we used to have a weekly work session. So when we were no longer there, it's sad. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It felt sad. So then we're back to our Tuesday work session.
Tuesday CDKL5 mission for a work session.
Yes. So. No, I think if you want to make an impact for CDKL5 and you want to make a difference for CDKL5, you have to be purposeful and have a plan and execute it. And that's something that's given me a lot of purpose in whatever way that I've been active for CDKL5. And this is the latest way. And I couldn't do this without you. Because it's the conversation. That's the whole point, right? Is to have the conversation. I think it's important for us to share both of our experiences.
We complement each other well on our skills and how we can use them to support families and awareness and the information we're putting out there.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. The other thing that's in our newsletter is an opportunity to sponsor the podcast. So doing the podcast is not super expensive, but it's not free. We have a recording studio costs and website and different things like that. And then also things that we would like to do that were sort of, if we had money to do, we would do more. So we're putting it out there that we are accepting sponsors for our podcast. And sponsors, as a thank you, will go on our website. And if you're a family that's interested in sponsoring, we are happy to put up a family photo on our website. The such and such family is a sponsor for the CDKL5 in Color podcast. I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, and if you're a business or somebody who is trying to get in front of the community, we could talk about opportunities to sponsor particular episodes, or, there's a particular thing you would like to see us discuss for the community. We can work with you to see if that's feasible as well.
Yeah. And running ads too.
Yeah.
We could do ads on our podcast too. So there's different ways to financially support the podcast, which will also be in the newsletter. And we had our store, which closes at the end of the month. So we've been able to have some nice merchandise go out to members of our community who made purchases. So I'm excited about that. I can't wait to see pictures of people in their gear with their kids in their gear. I always love that.
Yeah. And I think you can probably expect a pop-up on occasion from us.
Oh yeah.
Pop-up store, right?
Totally.
We'll have some more gear to sell.
Yep. All in all, I think we're doing a good job and we're having a good time.
Yeah. It's fun. Like, come have a moment with us. It's a fun, light environment if you wanna come and chat with us.
Yeah. No reason to be nervous. You only have
No.
to be an expert on your own situation.
Your own situation, and we're not quite sure how to cross language barriers yet, so speaking English is also, unfortunately,
I
something that
know.
is required now. I am excited that we have our first international guest coming up soon,
Yeah.
and I hope that we get to more international guests as time goes on because things are the same, but sometimes socially things are different, and it's always kind of good to understand those differences for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Marissa, I look forward to the next quarter, the next year, however long in the future we want to think about. And I appreciate the opportunity to do this with you.
Yeah, same here. Thanks for listening. We hope you'll follow us on social media at CDKL5 in color on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and visit us online at www.cdkl5incolor.com. Have questions or a topic you'd like us to chat about? Would you like to be a guest on our podcast? Email us cdkl5incolor@gmail.com and we'll be in touch. Until next time.